So I'm gonna break down exactly the way that I'm thinking that Tommy Tuberville's hustle's going. All right. So him being a representative for Alabama and also in charge of military promotions, while at the same time being full time in Florida. Just recognize something. His wife selling real estate and everything. It's seeming like basically they're Florida politicians that are going ahead and grabbing up, properties basically for nothing, claiming fraudulent, you know, tax forbearance, while at the same time, Tommy Tuberville's wife is going ahead and selling off those properties to be able to go out and make a profit. All right. Well, Tommy Tuberville himself is going ahead and basically acting as a tax shelter for Florida politicians because of that new Florida anti corruption law that's basically causing politicians to step down. All right. So basically, that would give Tommy Tuberville the opportunity to be, pretty much a gatekeeper as well as a kingmaker. All right. Now, keep in mind, because of him residing in Florida, but technically being representative for Alabama, that means that he's subject to Alabama's politics laws, not Florida's. So ultimately, his finances and everything won't need to go and be investigated. All right. While at the same time, if you're, a politician in Florida, basically any single one of you could end up going ahead and being the fault person for everything that Tommy Tuberville's doing. All right. So basically, considering the factor of Tommy Tuberville's loyalty to, Trump and all that, who would be a good fall person? Now, you got to think about this. All right. The two people that end up coming to mind, there's one person that seems like they would make it an exceptional fall person in comparison to the other. All right. Now, who would be an easy target? Easy target, that's easy. Matt Gaetz. All right. Ultimately, when it comes to Matt Gaetz and everything, you have not only the, journalists that basically have pointed out and everything, oh, there's been investigations to him for years and everything, you know. Ultimately, too, that whole drunk driving situation from when he was when he was younger and everything, that's like, well, he's been willing to criminal once, he'd be willing to criminal again. Only thing that goes and, gives him a little bit of wiggle room is the factor of, his dad's career with politics. So ultimately, there's going to be a lack of respect towards him anyway because of him being, people looking at it as nepotism. All right. But who ultimately could end up being the number one target, honestly? The most effective target. Now, if Trump was wanting to go ahead and stay in politics and go and wipe who he perceives as the bigger threat, who would that be? Ron DeSantis. All right. Now, keep in mind, DeSantis has no personality whatsoever anyway, but at the same time, seems to have posed enough of a threat. And now, funny enough, with how misogynistic the Trump is, he doesn't look at women as a threat in general. He looks at them as basically a commodity to be at his disposal. Not understanding that, hey, everybody has their own personal views and their personal autonomy and everything. So he was making some pretty big political, calculations when it came to the whole counting Nikki Haley out, which now that whole, her refusing to admit that, the Civil War was about slavery, and wanting to say that it was about, people seeking freedom from the, an oppressive government. That right there tells a lot about what you need to know about her. But ultimately, when it comes to Ron DeSantis, because of the factor of his gender, while at the same time, the whole everyone being, tired of his broken record and everything. Because let's be real, the only thing that, woke, 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 woke. Yeah, first off, you don't even go ahead and explain what woke is in the first place. Second of all, the whole war in Disney and everything, you ended up causing your, entire state, a lot of money when it came to that whole war with Disney. Plus, a lot of funds not being accounted for, throughout the entirety of the pandemic, while trying to go ahead and make the rollout for the vaccine, pretty much exclusively to be able to, get it first, at Publix stores, while at the same time, kind of leaning towards corporate interests that ended up going ahead and contributing towards your political action campaign. So, that is suspicious right from the get-go. So, ultimately, that right there would end up going ahead and making DeSantis the biggest, target, especially because of the factor that, when it came to a running tie for second between, DeSantis and Haley, Trump was pretty much keeping so focused on DeSantis that it wasn't actually counting Nikki Haley as a threat. While at the same time, because of Nikki Haley actually getting the endorsement of Hillary Clinton, he was like thinking, oh, for the people that, don't support, Hillary, they're going to look at that as an indictment. They're going to look at that as points against her, while at the same time, now that endorsement might actually end up working against her, not because of, because of people not liking, Hillary, because of the whole, oh, well, look at the servers, look at Benghazi, all that, But now, because of the factor that with, the whole Jeffrey Epstein list, about to be made public or, about to be made public in full, one thing that we know is her husband was on that list. So ultimately, that whole situation is going to end up being political kryptonite. So, Bill being married to Hillary, Hillary endorsing Nikki Haley, ultimately that's going to end up going ahead and, turning people off. But when you go ahead and look at the calculations like that, ultimately one thing it seems like is that, the politicians in Florida that are trying not to end up getting locked up because of that anti-corruption law, with all that embezzling going on and everything, they're going to be going through Tommy Tuberville to go and launder their money. And ultimately using eminent domain to go ahead and start collecting people's properties and, taking ownership of them on fake, tax forbearance. While at the same time, because of him not being a representative from Florida, actually being a representative from Alabama, that's not going to be money that, has to go ahead and be, presented to, like, let's say, a Florida corruption board. So, that's how you follow the money.